What's up, Annellis? Yes, perfect. You gotta love it when you have a holiday. Egyptian! We're just about to get started here. Just making sure I got everything all lined up for you guys. Martin! Man, everybody's excited today. I can't wait to talk to everybody here because it's been quite an interesting day. If you guys haven't heard, but let's go ahead and get started here. What's up, fam? What's up, guys? This is Chris Mizo here. If you're unfamiliar with who I am, I talk usually about PCs and tech. And today in the tech world, the most exciting and the most controversial news today is going to be based on the whole PlayStation idea of just pretty much removing a disc, removing the optical drive. We all knew that day was eventually coming. To be honest, we all knew that it was headed to that direction, especially with digital downloads. We kind of had indications from Xbox and even Nintendo Switch 2 when it came to purchasing their purchasing the physical game. You would end up just getting a download code. But now Sony has officially announced it for 2028 and going on forward that they will not be producing optical disc at all. So it just makes me a bit curious if GTA 6 was pretty much the standard for that, especially since they're the first ones to say that, hey, we're not coming out with any more physical disc. Sure, it was rumored. It was a big rumor, in fact, that many people was hoping for a fact. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I meant to turn on the social chat for you guys. Yes, US. Let's hope the US wins today. But that's going to be, I think, in like an hour and a half. But anyway, going back to the whole PlayStation bits. It seems that they've really forgotten the whole physical crowd. And what makes everything 10 times worse, how many people out there have their PlayStation 3 still? Or even maybe from the PlayStation 2, really the PS3 it's mostly from. Because if you do, that content that you originally downloaded for PlayStation 3 is going to be practically out of license. Because Sony says that you're what? Yes, I do. Yeah, I'm watching. Hey, Egypt's doing pretty good though, I gotta say. But anyway, if you have a PlayStation 3, apparently all the content, all the games that you have downloaded for your PS3 from the PlayStation Store will become out of date. So unfortunately, once it hits that certain year of 2028, you won't have access to it. So it's definitely a good idea for everybody out there to disconnect your PlayStation 3 from the internet, because at that point you don't want any updates. And I'm curious if there is really still updates going on. Who do you honestly, I hope Egypt does well. I think Egypt would honestly move on. And Nella says, I only have a PlayStation 3 and a Vita, so changes affect me greatly. They're killing Game Store this year. After that happens, I'm rooting for PS3. Vita's already there. Yeah, because Vita's been already in that stage, especially because Sony was really weird with the Vita. And man, that was one of the portable consoles that had so much potential. It should have honestly have received much more attention, much better marketing, and some focus, because Vita was honestly a great successor of PSP, only if they just knew how to deal with it. So I feel terrible about the PS Vita, and I hope that when they do come out with their new PlayStation Portable, when they do, that they look at the mistakes that they've already made. But it seems like with their current trajectory, the way everything is going, it seems that Sony is going quite the wrong direction. It all started downfalling, all spiraling down as soon as they announced that Sony games are no longer on PC. And then from there on, it just spiraling way down. Bringing back the whole exclusivity back to PlayStation. They're kind of going backwards, but yet forward in the wrong direction. So it's such a locked ecosystem at this point. You're pretty much locked behind that whole paywall. And the biggest and most annoying thing when it comes to consoles is the fact that if you have to connect to internet in order for you to be able to play your games. So if you're unable to connect to the internet to play your games, it's as you know, it's not fun. You can't access any of your libraries. So Steve, what's going on? Yeah, no more DLC. Yeah, it's terrible. Terrible news. Yeah, sure, Egyptian, go ahead. Feel free to ask. Would love to hear your question. Oh, and I just realized something, guys. So yes, go ahead and feel free to ask any of your questions if you have any. I'm going to put up some polls because I'm really curious to hear everybody's state of what they're thinking, especially when it comes to PlayStation. So I'm going to throw the poll out there real quick for you guys. And it's going to be, what is your current thoughts of PlayStation? So do you support Sony's? Now this one's going to be specific. It'll be support Sony's all digital game media. So you can feel free to vote yes or no. I'll throw up the poll for you guys there. So that's an immediate no right there. I see. Nellis isn't playing there. He knows. Let me see. Oh, there we go. That's an immediate no. Let me move that poll right there for you guys to see. So it says, yeah, no more DLC. Hopefully Sony does game key cards like Nintendo. Yeah, they need to. Even Nintendo's kind of doing away with that. Their whole idea of the whole game cards, they're pretty much like phasing that out for the most part. So feel free to vote. If you guys are curious on how to vote, you just put 1 or 2. And we will go into and take a look at some of the current leaks that have been out for the PlayStation 6, especially the portable. So Egyptian says, you know, my little company or whatever thing. So my old middle school called me and they want a full recap on educational games on the smart boards. And it will take me about 5 months. Okay, so if that's the case, if they truly want you to do this, did you kind of figure out the whole idea, like the whole premise of how you're going to do it? If you're doing the whole recap of educational games. So if it takes you 5 months, you have to think about 5 months of work. How much would, look at what your competitors would charge originally. And then you would have to try to price them out in a more fair manner. Because that way, if you, for example, if you undercut the other company like just a little bit more, that gives you a higher chance of success on getting their business. So I would say go with that, if anything. Bob Orkinson says, sadly, we're not all going to realize the downsides of a digital future. It's true. Not everybody is. Unfortunately, some people are so stuck to the point where they're focused on just PlayStation because PlayStation obviously had its great era. And as I mentioned a bit earlier in Discord, I feel like it was the pinnacle of gaming. It truly was. Like, Sony was one of those pinnacles that you could always go to when it came to decent and exclusive games. But since PlayStation 5 has been released, many people have been pretty disappointed with the results of PlayStation 5. Should I accept it? I'm sure if it's already offered to you, why not? But you just have to make sure that your business can survive on it, Egyptian. So the digital store that has been fully shut down is the DSi. How many people have it? Yeah, quite a few people. You know, actually today it kind of made me a bit curious. Everyone who has a PlayStation can definitely tell me about this or not, because I haven't tried it. I downloaded games from, of course, the PlayStation Store before, but when you are playing it, like from, say, it's the older generation, say from PlayStation 3, games from PlayStation 3, are you able to put it on PS5 or are you unable to? I believe I know the answer to this, which is more than likely unable to, and it's due to the whole compatibilities, and they would have to figure out the proper software or like emulator practically to run these PS3 games. I would assume that you're unable to do so. So I don't care about the money, but if I do that, I won't be able to make videos. I will. Yeah, just it's one of those things where you have to make a decision on for sure. Hey, Kernel 7.2 has FSR 4.1. Yes. Yes, that's a great point. That's something that I have to reiterate here is if you are interested in going into something like Linux and you want to go into Arch Linux or any of the Linux distros, it's definitely a great time, especially if you do enjoy gaming. But just to remind everybody out there, if you do choose to go to any of these Linux distros, most of you would probably more than likely want to just dual boot it for now, especially for those who enjoy games such as like Battlefield or games like Call of Duty, Black Ops 7, because there's going to be issues with the whole anti-cheat. And this is something that's currently being worked on. I know Steam has been working hard at it with their dev team, and even Nvidia is getting involved, believe it or not. Nvidia is getting involved, but they haven't done anything too crazy just quite yet. They haven't done any type of open source with Nvidia just quite yet. It would be nice if they did, but unfortunately not just quite yet. But I think we're getting there. We're getting to that point. So Dunn says, look at GTA 6. I heard that they will have a physical box, but it is more like a serial number in the box, more like a gift. Oh, yeah, that's what I figured. It's just gonna be just like a pretty much a pretty box that you're gonna get, and I would imagine it. Hello from. Oh, okay. What's up, John? I'm glad you got a front row seat. Support for HDMI 2.1. Yes, that's also a big key, especially when it comes to any Linux distros. I know it's not that great for Steam Machine, but if you do have a AMD card, a 9070X RX 9070, and you can take full advantage of it, go ahead. You could install Linux. Give it a shot. I highly recommend everybody just give Linux a shot to see if you like it, especially if you enjoy a lot of single player type of games. Or any type of games where it doesn't truly involve a anti-cheat. So cannot recommend dual booting because Windows keeps doing funky things with their software updates. Yeah, yes. And there is that issue. Again, it's more experimental. But if you do want to try it out and you don't want to put it into your drive, I highly recommend installing something like a VirtualBox. I should make a video based on that actually. But you want to use something like a VirtualBox just to mess with it to just get an idea of how the system's like. And I'm certainly excited because if you see behind me, I have a keyboard and mouse there. We have that whole Project Ninja pretty much built. I actually still got to work on the video. I still got the raw video I'm still putting together for you guys, but it's practically our own Steam machine that we built. But I'm certainly excited to definitely share it with you, especially of how it looks. For those, I know Anellis is one of them that doesn't like RGBs on PCs because, man, this thing's practically all pitch black. It's pitch black. There's only one thing that sticks out, and it's like a little logo, but that's it. Everything else is just pitch black. So I could also accept it, but start on the 20 days after I post like 5 videos on my Instagram. But okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's okay. You have to that's when it's good to try to, if you could hire, if you have enough money from your business, then hire somebody like that's good at marketing. If you do, then you're able to do your project and be able to have someone to market. So you might have to sacrifice a little bit of the money that you make to give to them, and then that way you can help your page. So I care about being able to download patches for PS3 because all games require patching. They all ship broken. That's what I'm currently concerned about too. Having a disc is only half the trouble. PS2 didn't rely on game patches. It did not. So did Xbox. It didn't really truly rely on game patches at all. Game patches didn't truly happen until like once it got to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4 series. Like once it started going to that era, then patches were like apparent. PCs, they, as you know, there was always updates on PCs, but it was never that bad enough. You never had to worry about it. So we got most people say, 100% of people say no, they don't support all digital games here from what I see. So I guess so that's a good sign for Sony to take a look at that and remember, because it's pretty much all over social media that nobody is happy with Sony's decisions here. So, um, what's up, Rainbow? Great to see you. FSR 4.1 point. Yeah, it's absolutely nice. It's much better. You compare it for yes, exactly. Definitely. You know it. It's going to be crazy. 7900 XT. Yeah, again, it would work great with the 7900 XT, because did you notice the performance change, like when it came to your FPS? Because I know that it was going to use some of the actual raw rasterization when it came to the 7900 XTX. Do you have the XT or the XTX? Is it? I understand that, but at the same time, it sucks because we have bad actors that ruin the idea that a game should just be able to just work out in a box day one. Um, how many people think that GTA 6 is more than likely going to have a day one patch? Because I just feel like we're so used to getting a game and be able to, and just getting a day one patch, that there's like nothing you can do. Like immediately when you get any game, you get like a 2 or 3 gigabyte patch like immediately. For any game that you purchase, it's kind of ridiculous. Like it comes shipped like that. So maybe they're doing it in a way to kind of prevent piracy in a way, so that way it can actually, so the game can actually work. But then that only prevents like what, maybe a week at the most before they figure it out. So my friend is good. Take advantage of it. If he can help you out, let him help you out. Reminds me of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5. The patch was literally, yeah, it's insane. I just realized no more physical games. How does I don't think GameStop feels good about it. I think a lot of his physical retailers don't feel good. Even Best Buy doesn't. For a time, Best Buy was actually doing the same thing. They would sell physicals. They would have used physicals as well. So digital has become a bigger thing since PS4 Slim. Only reason to get this is because bonus stuff when you pre-order games, and it comes with yeah, that's true. That is true. Um, I think it's the whole immediate. You get the game pretty much immediate. There's no line to wait. You don't have to go to, say, your Target or your Best Buy physically and have to wait till midnight, because we've all been there, especially for the OGs that's waited past midnight and able to get their hands, because I can definitely attest to it. Like, remember, like, waiting in line for Black Ops 2, how you would have to wait in that long ass line and able for you to get the game. And but that's how it was. That's how it was back then. But now you have the convenience of going digital. Again, there are also issues when going digital, because how long do you have this license until it gets revoked again? Because they can revoke the license quicker and quicker, or they're going to be license renewals, like where you can renew the license for, say, like after 5 years. They could tack on fees like this, and then plus PlayStation is going to go up. You know, PlayStation Network is going to go up in fees, and I guarantee you it's going to have this. And we all know it. It's going to have to do with something about AI involved with the servers for better communication. So, Hidden Bull says every game I played in the last 20 years had a day one patch. The ones that didn't were down until they patched it. That's true. GTA 6 doesn't need a day one patch. It won't be until day one. Yeah, I know. They're really strict about that. They want to prevent that. So that's valid to think that some, as an anti-piracy measure, some retailers in the past have accidentally broken the street launch dates and lawsuits went flying. That's true. AMD is extending the life of my 70. It should. That's how AMD should have always been. It should have never been held back in the first place, really, just to have just to move on. They're focused onto AI too long, to the point where they all forgot about the 7000 series. They forgot about those who have the 6000 series. Now, for those who have the 6000 series, are stuck waiting until 2027 to be able to have it. Now, for the 6000 series, it's going to obviously be focused a lot more on raw raster, because there's nothing in there to help the whole FSR in order for it to actually work right. Now, FSR 3, in my personal opinion, I think is a bit mixed here, because FSR 3 can be decent. It can help you get frames for sure. But of course, if you have it like enabled completely, then it just looks like a blurry mess. But FSR 4 certainly improves it, and you could notice it immediately, visually. So I looked at old computers and found a PC. Oh, really? That's insane. Yeah, it will. It will. That's like jewelry right there. Z-Man, what's going on? Tony, PlayStation really has nothing to offer over. Hey, there's a lot of people willing to swap over to PC at this point. They hear everything that Sony is saying, and it's become a bit more apparent that Sony's become a bit more focused on Sony. It's not a bad thing. They're trying to be able to gain their money back, and the reason, because they've been losing a ton of money. They've lost so much money to the point where they haven't seen this much losses since 2000. And yes, the year 2000. No numbers after 2000, just the year 2000. So back in PlayStation 2 era. So, and now it seems like a denial of service attack to make everyone wait to download a game. Yeah, 6800 XT is still awesome. There's still people, I still know people out there that still have this 6000 series, and they want to be able to take advantage of it. So anyway, I've said before, we're going into dark times, the perfect time for something like the Ouya. Yes, Ouya definitely needs to come back out. It would be wonderful if the Ouya comes back out. Let's go take a look onto the browsing mode here, as I do want to share with you guys the latest updates. If you guys weren't able to check this out, let me see. There we go. Beautiful. So what I want to share with you is this. Now, the latest, if you guys care for this, let me know. If you guys don't truly care for PlayStation now, I won't update you with this. But currently, with the PlayStation Portable, that Tech Power Up has actually pulled this up, which was that they found like it's going to use 4 Zen 6 C cores and 2 Zen 6 LP cores. So it's going to be low powered enough so that way it can idle without draining a ton of battery. So it does have that wonderful option. It's supposed to have some really good information. It looks like it also contains RDNA 5, because that was expected. And we all know that Sony wants everything to run seamlessly together. They want the whole ecosystem to work well. I can imagine if you're just, say you're playing God of War on PlayStation 6, and then you walk over to the couch with your PlayStation Portable 2, or whatever they call it, Vita 2, or maybe they call it a whole different title, but you're bringing that over, and you could actually transfer your game straight into the portable. So I think they're trying to get it to that point to where you're actually able to take it on the go. But the problem is, if they do something like this, then it's going to certainly require for everyone to be connected to PlayStation Network at all times. So Hidden Bull says, when your friend asks if you want to come over and play a game, it will be... yeah, at this point, if he has no RAM, it's definitely going to be some Monopoly. So Tony says, hey, Chris, let's say I'm installing games from Epic Games, and I already have good internet. Will Gen 5 help? No. Gen 5 will not be able to help speed up the process. All Gen 5 does is it's great for transfer speeds. So if you're transferring between drives, like if you're transferring it from like another PC, it can help with that. So it can help with transfer speeds, and that's pretty much it. You won't really notice it in game unless there's games that truly have direct storage, and currently that's in the works. There's a few projects out there where they do have games where they're trying to focus a bit more on that. GTA 6 is actually one of those games where it focuses mainly on the SSD speeds, and we all know that PlayStation 5 does not have Gen 5 they're still back on Gen 4. But again, it just shows you that the speed doesn't truly matter because we don't truly utilize it game wise. And even if we do, it's not going to get to the point of Gen 5 speeds. It won't even be noticeable as long, even if it's utilized, because it's only going to require so much speed in order for you to have like pretty much like a seamless transition to another scene in a game. So Martin says, I found 64 gigabytes of DDR RAM this week. I guess that's, oh, really? DDR4, that's pretty good. How much did you end up picking it up for? How much did you get your DDR4 RAM for? So if you guys were part of the Micro Center stream, hopefully you guys got to see it. If you didn't, hopefully you guys got the recap of it. Because at Micro Center, I'll show you exactly what we ended up going with. So let's go here. We're going to go to Micro Center and I'll show you what kit we ended up going with. So we'll go to the AMD Intel bundles and we ended up going with AMD build. So if they would make playable disk, you wouldn't need any storage memory. That is true. And you don't need to take up so much space. Hence why it's going to be so expensive for anybody out there that is interested in getting more storage for your PlayStation 6. I think at the minimum, they're going to give everybody probably 2 terabytes. But anything that's expanded from there, like an expansion, it's definitely going to be costly. I mean, we all seen the pricing of storage, and it's really unaffordable. As we were at Micro Center, one of the deals that they had was for a PlayStation. For anyone that has a PlayStation, is the PlayStation 5 that has the built-in heatsink. It was $352, and that's only for 1 terabyte. So just imagine if you went to go ahead and got like 2 or even 4 terabytes. It's going to cost a grip. It's going to cost a lot of money for anybody out there and able to do those upgrades. So for Micro Center, we ended up picking up the 7600 X3D build, which was a bit further down here. And let me see. 76, we ended up going with this kit here. And we ended up getting the single stick of 16 gigabytes, actually. So, ironically, they had 2 choices. You could either go with this one, which had the Gigabyte B650, and we said, why not? You spend $30 more, and you end up just upgrading to an X870 board. Of course, it's still based on Wi-Fi 6, but truly that doesn't matter, especially because many people that have a PC truly don't mind Wi-Fi speeds because you're going to more than likely use Ethernet. Rugal, what's up, Rugal? Great to see you. The profits that they were making on RAM is sick. I think I saw 86% of the price is pure profit. That is disgusting. That is just terrible. Unfortunately, we're not. Yeah, that's a great selection, right? I think it's going to be great, and I can't wait to share this build with you guys. I'm going to try to send it over. I'm going to try to upload it by Sunday for you guys. So Sunday morning, of course, the wonderful members of the roundtable will be able to access it first. So not bad. I just upgraded to a fold phone. How do you like it, by the way? How are you liking your fold phone? I know I hear mixed things about it. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. But yeah, but I gotta say this bundle was decent. And it just reminds you how big of boxes that they put originally with the 7000 series when you go back to that. Concrete says 205. Yeah, it's diabolical, right? $205 for 16 gigabytes. Yeah, pretty much. It's diabolical. It truly is. Looking at Micro Center CPUs, RAM bundles, even those are starting to dry up. And speaking of which, you know what's wild? When we were at Micro Center, that when we were looking at RAM, it got to the point where they had RAM available, but it wasn't as hefty as it was before. Before you would see so much RAM that they even had bins on top of the shelves. And even in those bins, they were just empty. There was nothing there. So it seems that the shortages are becoming a bit more apparent. But of course, we're going to know in a bit, like after probably like 3 or 4 weeks, we'll probably go back to Micro Center just to see how everything is and see if they're starting to really run low in supply, or we'll see a more visible low supply on the internet itself. Either that, or they just have some supply in the back of the warehouse. Um, but again, you we don't know how this is going to end up, because from what is claimed by SK Hynix, and also from other companies such as Samsung, that the pricing is more than likely going to go up another 50%. And if it does, that's going to definitely affect the whole hardware pricing once again. And it seems like it's one of those inevitable points where it just doesn't seem to be stable. It's not to the point where I don't see stability in this. It's just going to cause a big crash, like when it comes to all of this. It truly, because it's not sustainable. So it's either a single stick or getting more expensive. Exactly. Um, 32 gigabytes of Kingston laptop DDR5 was $60 last September. Won't see prices like that again till the next decade at the minimum. Um, and it just seems like it just keeps going on and on. And speaking of which, speaking of the whole AI phase, it seems investors are still kind of interested in this. I want to update everybody about this, because Meta is somewhat getting involved into the whole AI phase. So it seems that investors are still willing to spend. I mean, it literally just their stock price actually went up like $60 this morning, which I found pretty insane, and it's all due to AI. So investors are still still believe heavily into AI, and it hasn't been quite rejected just quite yet. So Rugel says they are very scratchy and dusty, and when unfolded, they can gobble up the battery quickly. But for me, the battery has been fine. But yeah, you have to wipe this thing daily. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, the biggest complaint I hear when it comes to foldables or foldable phones is that the crease. When you fold the phones, that there is a crease that doesn't go away. But you've had it for about, you said roughly about a week, has it been? Because that is one of the largest complaints I do hear about when it comes to foldable devices. One of the devices that I truly believed in, I think was a great item that they had with Samsung's trifold. They only sold it like for 2 or 3 months, and then they pulled it off the market. And then once they pulled it off the market, I think it's mostly because of the RAM issues. I think that had a lot to do with it, and the shortages when it came to their supply. But I feel like that was one of those. It could have been truly successful, because if you look at that thing, it was a monster. It was thin when it was folded up, and then when you unfolded it, it was the size of like a regular tablet. So Hidden Bull says, with prices like this, it might be smart to consider opening a gaming cafe, like I used to see back in the day. They went out of business when people got their own PCs. Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, I thought about this. I mean, I really want to look into this because I'm a bit curious. It does have me a bit curious to open up a gaming cafe, because we definitely do have plenty of PCs here to do so. Um, yeah, it's not a bad idea. I think they would be successful. Believe it or not, when you go to areas like in Taiwan and in Japan, they gaming cafes are still very relevant. And the reason being because PC gaming is very expensive, even when it's when even in places like Taiwan and Japan, because the cost of living is when it comes to items such as that, it's expensive. Of course, luckily for us that are based in the U.S., can have a bit more. How do I say? A bit more spending money, a bit more flexibility when it comes to spending. So for us in the U.S. And other countries that are able to afford when it comes to PC gaming, it gives us that option of building a PC and having our own personal PC. So I think that's one of the big reasons why gaming cafes are still very successful in places like Taiwan and Japan. And I think it would honestly do well here as well if this continues on, because I don't. It would really be hard for PC gaming to sustain this. It's hard for console gaming to be able to sustain this, because they're based on affordability. And if consoles become unaffordable, that's certainly a big issue for their sales. They're not going to sell any. Sony already pretty much said that they don't plan on selling at a loss. They don't want to sell at a loss anymore. And they say if they sell at a loss this time, it's going to be more of a major loss, and that they're afraid of making up software wise. And that kind of gives you an idea of the confidence that they have when it comes to their games, because you're not sure what type of product that they're going to produce. That is true. That is also true. Yeah, and versus, and you know what, Tony, you are right about that, because again, when you go to other countries, such as over in places like in Taiwan and Japan, that they don't use credit cards. They you would see it maybe and really rarely. So I've been thinking about changing the look of my Steam Machine PC in the living room. What are your thoughts on the Thor? I think it's an awesome choice to go with. If you're thinking about doing it, I would say let's go ahead and share everybody what this case would actually look like. So, Tetra case. So take a look at this. This is a short form factor, and I think this would actually be great for anyone that is interested in building their own Steam machine. Now, of course, when it comes to building your own Steam machine, you don't have to do something like this. It might be a bit more difficult, but if you don't mind the challenge, you could go ahead and do so. But this is actually a great option for anybody out there that is interested in building their own Steam machine. There's a lot of people out there that actually built their Steam machines with even older hardware, and they have less issues. And there's so many PCs out there that could truly compete with the Steam machine pricing. Of course, the biggest selling point, I gotta say, when it is the Steam machine, it's literally 6x6. Like, that's truly tough to beat in size and form factor. But again, it's just 260 exactly. It's a bit more expensive. It's definitely a bit more expensive. And usually when you do build short form factor PCs such as this, they tend to be a bit more expensive in that sense. Because it gives you a bit more options when it comes to like having the way the GPU sits. You pay for all the little extra features that it has in there to give you that flexibility. But yeah, 260 euros is definitely a bit up there. Let me see. I'm curious if you could even get it here. But it's definitely a great option for anyone that does want to build a PC. Let's take a look at some of the images here. And if you look at it at the size of someone's hands, let's see. It looks a bit like this. So what they have in there, it looks like, I would assume that's a RTX 5070, I would assume. Probably a 5070 or 5070 Ti. But you can also install a RX. If you're going, now, if anyone's thinking of going with a Steam machine build, I typically recommend going with all AMD. You'll have less issues because of the compatibility when it comes to their drivers. So Rugal Boss says that Samsung Trifold was the only made as the response to the Huawei Trifold. Huawei claimed nobody else could do it, so Samsung did it sort of a stunt and sold it in limited markets. Oh, okay. They were too complex for any sort of mass production for global release, and now the $3,000 phone market is kind of small. Yeah, that is true, because it's, again, when it comes to phones, they're going to end up going more expensive anyway at some point, because again, it's the hardware that's expensive. And Apple pretty much also said that they also plan on raising their prices. So I'm really looking forward to when they have their press conference, when they have their whole display when it comes to their new phones. I'm curious to see where they're going to price their phones at. And it's also, if they have they'll probably have different options where you could probably get a bit. Can you imagine that instead of just looking at just the storage on the phone, that you have the options of expanding the RAM inside of the phone? But then again, it's probably gonna be in specific models. And this would not only be just the iPhone itself, but you also have, yeah, I know. They always have. They've always been that way. It's just going to be even more expensive now. So just Imagine, because Apple said this. They said, "Hey, like we're gonna charge more because right now the hardware is even more expensive than it is." So Hidden said, "I tried to build a Steam machine size ITX for my sim racing rig. Cooling is an issue without making a lot of noise. It gets loud." Oh, really? Yeah, it makes sense. If you're trying to do a Steam machine size ITX, I know noise is definitely one of the factors. Um, that hence why I recommend for if anyone does this, I wouldn't worry too much about like the whole getting RGB fans or anything like that. I feel Noctua is really a good option to go if you can, but of course you do have limited size for it. You just have to figure the best way to keep your PC nice and cool. Um, Now something like this, we would have to see. You just have to figure out the best way you can get airflow through there. You're definitely going to need something to cool it. Um, because again, you're going to have very limited space when it comes to the fan size. So let me see. It does make me a bit curious, like if you take something like the Tetra apart, like how much room can you truly have when it comes to the fans here? This one's a bit more limited compared to, like if you look at fractional designs, they do have a bit more flexibility when it comes to it. But then again, it all depends on the type of casing that you're choosing to go with here. Let's see. Now they have multiple cases here where they got the mood, which is definitely much more taller. Now, when it comes to theirs, I know they're a bit more taller, or it could be a bit more. So the ridge, yes, the ridge it's a decent size actually. It's a decent size. It's like probably like roughly about that tall when we saw it. Yeah, the ridge case is awesome. I love it too. I think this is actually a great option for anybody that wants to go with a small form factor. And when you take a look at it, let's actually play the video so you guys can actually see it. And when you see this, the way this is, okay, good. I had to check for the audio because I don't want YouTube to flag this. So it comes with this whole PCI Express 4 riser card, so that way you can actually sit it in the appropriate place, and you can fit up to 2 fans. Now, with something like this, again, like with the 2 fans, I would highly recommend going with Noctua fans that can go up to a high rate of speed with higher RPM, so that way you can push the airflow appropriately to keep it nice and cool. Um, so if you do something like that, it will help cool it and it won't be as noisy. So I've heard bad things about fractional mood, specifically with cooling. Okay. The mood I haven't really looked too much into. Gas out. What's up, gas out? Been through a lot. Let's just say I'm back to work this past Monday and been sorry to hear that. At least you're back to work though. At least you're back on your feet. That's the most important thing. But glad to hear that you're back. But yeah, I feel like the Ridge is definitely one of the great options out there for those who are new to building and wants to build something like this, like something that's more short form factor. I do highly recommend taking a look at this stuff here. They do have the Terra, which is also a great option. This is more like PC size, but this gives you a bit more flexibility and room to play with. Uh, Especially for if you can build a PC out of this and you're new to building PCs, you won't have any problems. Of course, you get much more room and much more airflow if that's what you truly care about. So again, you can access the back easily for the GPU, and then you can have the front for where your motherboard is, and also you'll have a bit more airflow through a case like this as well. I miss Silverstone dominated with that form factor. Yes, Silverstone's an excellent brand, by the way. So if anyone wants to build with Silverstone, go with them. Also, another one that I saw that's quite interesting. What's that called? It's the same brand that also you can use when it comes to network attached systems. Jonesbo, I think it's Jonesbo, but PC cases. I'm probably spelling it wrong. I can't even. Is it Jonesbo or? I think it is. And I saw this case. I feel like it was interesting. They got quite a few small form factors too. And if you choose to get something a bit more smaller, I feel like these ones are decent, but the thing is, it's a bit more older style. I feel like the aquarium thing is like pretty much done. Most people don't want to do like aquarium type of builds. But one case I feel that's pretty good for those who are looking for more of like the steam machine type of build or something like these. Like you could get something like enclosed if you don't care about RGBs as much. I like the glass and the LED. Nice. I figured that you would. Great to see you, tinfoil. I am currently using the Jonesbo C6. Okay, okay. That's pretty dope. How are you liking it? You gotta let everybody know about it. Because actually, this was like one of the top options when it was going to come to the network attached systems. But of course, I had to delay that project because of how expensive storage is today. Unfortunately, we don't have that flexibility. Liam Lee A3, please. Yeah, sure, sure. Well, we can check it out. We can't be friends anymore. I have an aquarium case. Hey, I do too. My main rig has an aquarium case, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna take it apart to put it in a whole new case just because it fell out of style. At this point, I don't care. At this point, let's see. Liam Lee, A3. Let's go ahead. Liam Lee A3. This is the case here. Another great option. And this one's a bit. Did it? You're breaking my heart. Gas out. I think you're breaking everybody's heart here. I don't want to spread any more negativity. Fortunately, some people are getting affected by the everything that's been happening with the whole PC hardware side. Still, I like admiring my handiwork. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I still like it. I still like it. Of course, like the whole um sharp edges is like the biggest thing that people are not attracted to anymore when it comes to the PC cases. It seems everything's much more rounded now. If you take a look at it, it's either rounded or it's like this, like where it's kind of like closed off. And wood paneling is like a big thing too now. But this is the A3 MATX. A lot of Windex though. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I do it all the time. And the thing is, I put it directly onto the microfiber rag and I wipe it down, or like any of those polishing rags, because of course the biggest fear that you have is if you spray any of that stuff like directly into your PC, it could end up it could end up badly, especially if you got something like a 1590. So anyway, a 26.3 micro form factor chassis, so that's really nice. So if you're curious about the dimensions, let's actually go to that first. Dimension size. It can fit up to a 415 millimeter GPU. So that's gives you actually a lot more room and 316 millimeter AIO. So this one's a bit more. I'm assuming this one is that's pretty dope actually. It's a more compact design. So this is actually you could pretty much build like nearly a full build PC, but I assume that it's ITX and MATX. Okay, that's what I kind of figured there. But still, that gives you much more flexibility, and if you can get that much airflow through it, that's important. That's truly important. You might want to use parts pickers when you build a PC with a small case. Things can get yeah, exactly. I agree. Because everything is very precise when it comes to building a small form factor. Sometimes it requires you to get like a smaller type of it can get you it might require you like a shorter not ATX, a shorter PSU, because they actually have different models where they actually have shorter like SFX type of not SFX, like SFF. I think they do call it SFX in fact, but they call the PSUs can be in fact smaller. They also do have the ITX motherboards, and then you have to factor in the whole size when it comes to cooling, because sometimes you can't fit. Yeah, that's what I figure. SFX, SFX1, and also thanks hidden. And also when it comes to the air coolers, you have to consider height if you choose an air cooler for the CPU, or if you're choosing a AIO, if it can even fit like usually AIO is typically out of the question when it comes to like a very small form factor build. But something like this, you could certainly get away with it because you have a lot more play and flexibility into it, which is definitely great for a lot of people out there. Lee is a great brand when it comes to modularity and for those who want that flexibility. But I definitely like this. I like this case a lot, in fact. Definitely going to add this to my list. I gotta add this to my list now. Thank you. So, have been running an Asus ProArt 602 for a good while. It's like a direct anti of a compact case, but I think most silent cases I had, and it was kind of on sale when I was looking for a case. Oh, nice, nice. I mean, that's there are great cases too as well. I've seen a few of the newer ones that they had over at Micro Center, and I feel like they're pretty decent cases too. The one thing I'm not surprised about that hasn't quite expanded just quite yet when in the PC world just yet is having dual USB-C front panel ports. Sure, there's a couple cases that have them, but I'm surprised it hasn't been a bit more popular in that sense. But I think when it comes to the upcoming the next generation, when we come to newer motherboards and everything, I think we'll see a lot more USB-C instead of just USB-A. Unless there's more of a consensus for those who prefer using USB-A versus USB-C. So I did choose the Haven 420. It's still a great choice. Haven makes some great cases as well. And also, let me see. Let me go back here real quick on Jonesbo. So if anybody does want any cases here, this is another good one. N4, very small. They do have some really nice casing. I think the one that we saw at Micro Center was more of the Z20 actually. The Z20 cases are pretty decent, and you can use it again. They have multiple variations. They have the mesh ones, or you can have the one with the glass panel siding, and have this directly sit on top of, say, your TV. If you want to hook it up and use it as a steam machine, it's a perfect item to do it. All you have to do is pretty much go off of a build like this. Dimensions 370 millimeter by 186 millimeter by 295, so it's a decent size. Um, I like how they go to millimeters and to inches. But anyway, they can fit up to uh, 2.5-inch SSDs, up to three, one, 3.5. I don't think anybody's going to put that into their machine anyway. And fan has top 120 by two. You can use two or even 140, so it gives you a bit more flexibility on that. And also, let's see. Bottom has up to 120, 140. Rear has 120. So you can get some decent cooling out of here. And the radiator itself is the ATX PS2 PSU clearance up to 180. Recommends less than 140. So it's more or likely, here you go, the SFX or the SFXL type of build. So let me pull that up actually so you guys can see that. GPU clearance up to 363 millimeters. So you do have a bit more room in order to play with if you choose to go this route. So, anybody that's just coming in and curious about PC builds, welcome in, especially if you're coming from the whole PlayStation side. And now that you're seriously considering just going to the PC route, because I don't blame you. Everybody's been down that road before, who pretty much got tired of like the whole being locked into the whole ecosystem of a console. You're stuck into Sony's PlayStation Network. You have to pay every month or pay yearly for your subscription. And you don't really have as much flexibility or freedom inside of your console. And a PC can absolutely do that. Can definitely freeze your system. And now you have even the flexibility of installing something like Steam OS, where you can play all your favorite games, especially if you're not like a big fan of games such as Call of Duty, or if you're not a big fan of any multiplayer games. Steam OS is the way you can certainly go. So, though one problem I have with it is that it's a whopping 16 kilograms, and carrying it is a chore. But I am not sure what to expect from solid steel and wood case. Yeah, it's of course when it's solid steel, you're definitely going to feel a bit of weight, but at least you know it's solid construction. You don't have to worry about any. You can literally kick it and not have to worry about it, like causing any type of disruption or damage. Uh, but at least you don't move it too often, I would assume. So, a 120 millimeter fan with low restriction movements around 40 to 60 CFM. You need 200 CFM minimum to maintain a 10-degree inside case delta over ambient. Hard to fit 520 millimeter fans. Yeah. Well, and also you have to consider too how you would have the airflow. Now, unless I'm assuming okay, so it's gonna require a bit of tuning, and I get where you're coming from, Hannibal too. Because if you do this, um, you're gonna cause negative pressure if you have the fans such as this. Um, and you don't want to cause negative pressure. So what you want to do is make sure you get positive pressure. I would suggest, well, I would say if the airflow is coming through the front, which it looks like it can. Let me see if I can flip this around. Not that great of a gallery. There we go. That's what we need. We need a bit more. We need to see a bit more to the side of it here. I don't think it does. I think it only has the one, right? It seems like it's specifically on one side. I'm seeing a glowing reflection, so I'm assuming that there's supposed to be a fan on that side, but I guess not. But if that's the case, if this is how the case is designed, let me go further down. See the breakdown of it. Okay, so it has a filter here. The dry bays are here. Okay, so this is your intake. I would assume, or your. Let me zoom in here because I need to get confirmation on this. That looks like you can't put any fan in the front of it from what it seems like. So more than likely you would have all the fans sitting on either the bottom or you're going to have it onto the back for the intake side. So what you can do, that's assuming, and you know what you can do too, is you can also adjust the fan curves too. Have higher speeds when it comes to the intake side. Obviously, I want to go too crazy when it comes to the whole exhaust side because you're going to need equalization when it comes to positive pressure. Otherwise, you don't want to create any negative pressure. Otherwise, it's just not going to flow well when gaming. So that's what I would suggest to do for anyone that does go to mess with this. But I know these are the little complicated things that can happen when it comes to builds, because then you have to be able to know how to adjust your fan curves in the BIOS. So I'm pretty sure any old aluminum case wouldn't get damaged from a kick either. Heck, I'll $500 to the Olympia kid. Yeah, no, you would have to really kick it on purpose in order for you to actually like cause some damage. But let's see if we get a better picture, or we can see. Let's see, we see the drives because this looks enclosed. There you go. That's what I figured. So more than likely you could put it, you can have intake through the bottom. So you can have, I guess you can have even air pressure this way if you treat this as, if you use this as intake for the bottom and the top. I mean, not the top, the bottom and the back. And then you can use the top as for the exhaust side. Of course, I would recommend keeping these a little bit higher, but of course, if you care about noise levels when it comes to it, I would suggest getting all Noctua fans, because if you do that, then at least it will be quiet and cool, which are important factors for those who are looking to build a case in something like this. But this is definitely an idea. Would love to tackle something like this. Again, the size, if you're curious about this specific case here, let's see, specifications again, 370 millimeters, 186 millimeters, and 295 millimeters. So if you're curious, my main build, I'm still running a fractional Meshify, the OG one. My 4080 super barely fits, but I love the case so much. That is awesome. Anyway, it's high time I got off. Sorry, I couldn't stick around long enough to get an ad, but that's no, that's all good. I don't mind it. I thank you for always stopping in, Rugal. As long as if you enjoyed yourself into the stream. Um, Now, if you're curious about the whole size, now when it comes to this, when it comes to millimeters, that is going to be based off of let's see, roughly that is going to be like almost a foot, 295. So it's about 12 inches, close to 12 inches. Um, and if you go to 186, that's going to be roughly about 7 inches. So it's 7 by 11. So the height is 11 inches. So it's like, so it's pretty, it's not too tall actually. It's like this. And if it's about 7 inches, that's not too bad. That's actually not that bad. The tallest point is the 370 millimeter side. So if you are thinking of going that direction, this is definitely one case you can definitely look at is John's bow. And if you look up this case, we can actually look it up. Oh, my fault, guys. My fault, guys. Get back to it right here. We're going to go over to the Z20, and we're going to go over to Micro Center and kind of bring it over. And let's see. That typical, right? Z20. Let's see if we can find it. There you go, $100. I almost bought that case for an ITX build, but I ended up getting the Cooler Master NR 200. Hey, that's a good case too. Usually that case you could get for a decent deal. I do like the Steam machine. It is already built and it works. This is coming from an old person who, yeah, and it makes sense if you're buying it for your, like your grandchildren. You want something that's, what you're truly buying is the small form factor is one, and two, that it's just easy enough to turn on and play. It's not something that you have to truly tune. And I know those who are a bit afraid of that, of the whole tuning side, and has no ideas or never ever touched a PC in their life. I can imagine how intimidating it could be. But for those who do want to get involved and are truly thinking of building a PC, this is an option for you guys. It says liquid cooling ready. Interesting. This is a much better view of it too. So again, great option. It's only $100 case. And I think this would actually be a decent Steam machine if anyone had wanted to go ahead and build it. It has great options for anybody there that that's looking to hook it up for their TV and for their living room. And the Steam OS, it's really fluid. It's once you turn it on, it goes directly to where you need it to. It goes directly to your game's library. And I think it's the whole convenience factor that many people are looking forward for. And some people don't even truly use their PCs at all for when it comes to any type of task. And if that's the case, the Steam Machine's a great option to do so. Of course, if you do use, like if you need to do any type of work, you still can. You technically can do some type of work. And you would just go into pretty much desktop mode. Of course, you do have other options. I don't recommend anybody new to just go straight into something like Arch Linux, or I mean, you could if you want to, but of course that's something to definitely learn. So I also like the LED strip on the machine. I wonder if it will glow red going side to side like so. That's a good point. I bet you can certainly make it go red with this Steam machine. There's what, and if it does go red, it's probably not a good thing. I would assume it's not a good thing if the Steam machine goes red. I think it just has that blue light, to be honest. if you start off with Arch Linux, make sure you yes. And that's why I'm saying if anybody's new to building, don't start off with something that tough because you're truly going to stress yourself out and you're going to be like, why the hell did I build a PC? You're going to get super frustrated. Of course, the most easiest way to do everything is just go straight into Windows. Everything is like pretty much set up for you there, and it's just direct to download. You don't have to do any terminal stuff because I know some people don't like to do that, especially if you're in some sort of Linux distro. I would tell the kids that I am watching. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely gotta watch them, especially for something like that. Now, if these SSD prices went up like since the last time we just took a look when we just came from Micro Center, I would be appalled because if it truly did, that's just ridiculous. Um, Now, if you take a look at the pricing, okay, so the 9100, as you guys saw when we were at Micro Center, they had everything that was like up. They made it seem like everything was on sale. But when you truly looked at the price, it wasn't truly a magnificent drop. That the pricing was much more closer to $400 for a 2 terabyte NVMe uh, for an SSD. And then you got the XG 7000 right next to it, the Kingston, for $290. The 990 Pro, which is again a PCI Express 4 over the 9100, which is PCI Express 5. You're looking at the price, a $30 difference between the two. So, um, if you're gonna spend that type of money on an SSD, you might as well just go ahead and spend it on the PCI Express 5. If Xbox and PlayStation go fully digital, remove disk drives and charge the same price of a PC, what would be the benefit over choosing a pre-build? And that's the problem. I think that's why there's going to be a lot of people that are questioning whether if it's truly worth entering another console era. I mean, we've seen the issues that we've already had when it came to PlayStation 5 and the criticism that it's already received that they didn't have that much titles when it came to PlayStation as it is. And that already people are protesting for a whole PlayStation 6 generation not to happen until at least 2030. And I think that the people have certainly spoken about how they feel, let alone you're making everything go, you're removing physical media, which is something that people personally enjoy. Some people will truly like going to a place like Best Buy, Targets, or GameStop or any type of retailer that offers the physical media. And when you purchase the game, the just touching the whole casing and just ripping off the plastic, the whole feeling of just having a game in your hands will definitely be missed. I think a lot of people will certainly be there will be certainly an uprising, especially for those who collect physical media, and they're going to do their best to have their opinions heard. So the PlayStation and Xbox are easy to implement parental controls. They restrict chat oftentimes. It's harder to restrict a PC. That is true. There's so much to a PC. There's so much you can do. I'm sure you've done this hidden too, like where you went into your Wi-Fi and you put up different type of firewalls and protection to prevent things or items like this to happen away for your kids to see. Let alone like when it comes to even just games, you have to set like parental control on nearly every type of application that you can think of. And I think that's one of the toughest hurdles that has to be faced. I think if Windows does go ahead and has their version of like a gaming version of Windows, I think this is an easier thing for them to have resolved. Hopefully, Microsoft has really looked into it and seen that there is a increase when it comes to interest when it's the Steam OS. Because Windows cannot continue going the way they are if they truly want to repeat success. The only reason why they had the success that they have now, and we all know this, is because it's the ease of access and it's just it's again, it's every game practically works in Windows. Linux wasn't used for a long time because they didn't have the Proton technology that they have today. And the same thing when it comes to the more flexibility when it comes to the GUI or when it comes to accessing the applications when it comes to Linux. Now it's a lot more flexible to where you're able to do that without using the terminal for just opening up a simple program. Um, and now SteamOS has certainly proved that. And also, you do have other distros that people love to use, like Casio OS, and then you also have what's the other one, Baslite. There's so many different distros out there where you have a bit more flexibility when it comes to the whole gaming side. I think that Windows really has to focus on having their own OS when it comes to gaming. It can obviously still be called Windows, but have a more gamer friendly focus. And I think a lot more people would be interested into something like that more than Windows 11. Windows 11 updates, because that was just hell. That's still problematic to this day. And it's even scary to see a critical update or when they do any of these update packs that we're going to have, like H26. What's coming up next is H26.2, I think it is. And when that comes up, that's going to be more of a question if anything's going to break if you install this. So I'll throw up a poll for everybody out there. So if you had the option, if Windows, I think this would be a decent one. If Windows had a gaming version, would you choose to go ahead and install that? If it's similar to something like, say, like SteamOS, would you be interested? Would you be interested in a Windows gaming OS? More than likely, if they do this, it's going to be probably called something like Xbox Windows or something, I would assume. It would just be strictly used for gaming. Of course, it would have a desktop mode you can access. So I would install Windows OS. So okay. So it seems like we get a mix. We got some no. I know some people are like F Windows. Just go just go to Linux, man. I know that's what Tim's thinking. Just go to Linux. It's not that bad, right? Um, Again, anybody that's just coming in and is curious about going into like SteamOS, I just want to remind everybody out there, please use a full out AMD build. You will save yourself a lot of trouble. Sure, you'll hear a lot of things about NVIDIA's the best GPU. Get NVIDIA. Now I'm not being biased at all when it comes to this. NVIDIA is great. It's one of my daily drivers. But when it comes to using something like SteamOS, AMD is a lot more driver friendly when it comes to it. Now it is improving, but it's just not quite there with NVIDIA because NVIDIA does not have the open source, which is necessary for them to be able to operate correctly, like using like things like DLSS when it comes to Steam OS. So I would love the ability to boot into gaming mode. I think that's also a great idea. I think that's a great option. So if Xbox mode was like Steam OS, I would prefer that because it would not restrict what games you would want to play. Absolutely. What am I? I get it. I get it. Yes, that's what I do need. I need some. That's what I do need. Some coffee. But I got some water right behind me actually, which I should hydrate myself. Hopefully it's not too hot where everyone is. Like, what's the temps like for everybody right now? Is it extremely hot? Like, one of my buddies from I think up in Delaware, he sent me, it was 103 degrees, which is insane. That's really hot. Even for Miami. If you turn on a 12-year-old loose on Windows 11 to play games, there is and you know what scares me the most is the whole services that are being used on Windows. Don't forget to hydrate, guys, especially if you're in a hot environment. As long as you like the heat, yes. If you enjoy the heat, enjoy it. Of course, I enjoy the heat as much as I can take it. But I know there's sometimes it can get extremely hot too. It's so humid, you just swallow air to hydrate. There you go. You know what? There was actually an invention that they were trying to come out with. I don't know how many people would actually do it, but you can actually. It was a water, pretty much like a British system, like a water filter system. But except what it would do is it would pick up the humidity out the air and it turns into water. So practically almost like what a dehumidifier does. But you can drink it. So I don't know how many people would do that. Drink the air in their house practically. So so let's see. One day get 4 terabyte. Yeah, one day it'll happen. If you want to get 4 terabytes, it'll happen one of these days. It's so anybody willing to try that? If they do come out with it, I'm about to look that up actually, because it does make me it does make me curious if they actually went through with it. Who would drink their own humid air in their house? Look at the filter on your case and think. I know that's what I mean. I feel like it's a bit disgusting. Games on a PC also need to communicate through different apps when playing. Yes, that is true. The biggest issue that I do have when it comes to Windows, my biggest concern at least, is the whole services that are being used. I hope they fix this. It's been issues. This has been the longest issue that I don't get it. They have this memory leak issue that they can never ever fix. Um, yeah, it sounds mighty delicious. So you know the wonderful thing is that it has electrolytes in there too. So so when you're drinking the water now. It's not just regular water. You have electrolytes. You are still streaming. Oh no, yeah, I'm still streaming. Definitely still streaming. Hopefully you guys are enjoying FIFA right now. I'm hoping the U.S. wins. Let's you know what? I should put that up on the poll, guys. Are you? You know what? First, I should ask if you guys are watching FIFA. Are you are you rooting for the U.S.? I should put. Are you rooting for the U.S.? All right, there you go. New poll for you guys. So I have never had a. Now I'm talking about FIFA, guys. Um, I have never had air conditioning, so it's 95 in my living room right now, and I'm not hot or sweaty. Hey, the great thing is, like when you're used to that type of temperature, you will sweat certainly a lot less. That's like if I have any of my friends that are from visiting from up north down to here, they're gonna definitely notice the heat a lot more than I do. Like I remember, like I was just wearing like a regular shirt, and the next thing you know, like within like 5 minutes, this guy he's all drenched, and he says to me, he's like, I think I said to him first, like, oh, it's not too bad, right? It's not pretty dry. And he said, no, it's like he's like, no, it feels humid. Like I feel hot. So I've never had air conditioning, so it's 95 in my living room right now, and I'm not. Oh, I just read that. My fault. 1-1. Yes. So let's go US. Let's hope they win. Let's hope they let's get this. Hopefully that they get this. It would be awesome for them to be honest, because they've been struggling. They haven't gone this far. It would be really nice. It would be awesome. 95 dry heat isn't bad. 95 with 85. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like when there is humidity, that can be rough. I think today was like roughly about here 93 degrees. It was 93 degrees but 63% humidity. But we honestly do need the rain here. It hasn't rained like as much as it should have. But usually we don't get the rain, like real rain. It seems like more so like more into August. I would say like August, September is like when it starts raining a lot more. And that's like for us, that's when it gets into the whole like real. It's technically hurricane season now, but that's when it gets into like actual hurricane season, because it's like the water's starting to change temperature and everything, so it can cause the whole hurricanes. So, but hopefully this year will be pretty decent. So, speaking of which, so if you are thinking of getting an SSD, don't uh, don't be afraid of the whole generational thing. Meaning between generation 3, generation 4, generation 5. Honestly, when it comes to gaming, that doesn't matter. And if you mostly game on your PC, you won't honestly see the difference. In fact, when we did this build, just to give you guys a heads up, we even went PCI Express 3 because I had that drive. I had like a little collection of SSDs, and I had a PCI Express 3 one. I'm like, this will go perfectly well on something like a Steam OS build. I can check that indoor humidity. Yes, I would. Excuse me. I would love to know what the temperature's like. But for us here, we always have like the AC running, so it's like more dry in the house than it is actually outside. And I know a lot of houses are like that too. Like especially once it gets in the heat. But who I truly feel bad for, like when it comes to weather like this, is those in the European regions that don't have AC. That's rough. I certainly feel bad for you guys out there because um, I don't get it. What's up with the whole AC thing? Because it seems like I think I heard that like the ACs are like practically being like sold out at this point because people are unable to take the heat as it is now. So going into it, so if you're looking for NVMe's, just look for the lowest part. And I love the suggestion that somebody brought up, which is PC Parts Picker. You can certainly find uh, cheaper SSDs that way, which we will go into in a bit. Yes, that's right. Let's go US. So let's go ahead and if you're looking for an SSD, say you're looking for a 1 terabyte, um, go up here, check it out, and it looks like the best one that we can find is this one here. It's a bit mixed, and I know Hidden can certainly testify on this. Some people say it's good, some people say it's not so great, that it doesn't last that long, and that's Inland's 1 terabyte SSD. They currently have it for 165. You can actually even upgrade it to Gen 4 for just $15 if you wanted to. But honestly, the speed's not going to Micro Center would sell Staples brands. uh, Staples is like so slow when it comes to catching up things. It honestly makes me curious. Let me go on Staples and take a look to see if you can get a SSD from them. They're probably caught up by now. Let me see. Let's see how much their SSDs are. So at Staples, you can get a 1 terabyte Western Digital for $230. That's actually not that bad considering the climate that we're in today. So if you're have a Staples near you, you have a decent choice of going this route. I should look up a 2 terabyte. 2 terabytes, 330. And again, if you compare it to Micro Center, Inland is like the budget brand. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It is the budget brand. Uh, so I hear it fails early because of that, but I don't know how true that is. I you would have to truly push it. But most people seem to be happy with it. I know Clev is decent. Clev is decent. Lexar is decent as well. They got their 2 terabyte NQ780 for 300. And this one's a decent one too. This one, uh, I'm surprised they sell. Honestly, I'm still surprised that they sell it. Budget brand Western Digital has been making stuff forever. Yeah, they have. But the crazy thing is now that they swapped over their name to SanDisk, that's gonna completely change it. They kept kind of the same title, like when it comes to 7100 or 8100s, but it's just called SanDisk Optium now. I like the King Spec 2 terabyte by Western Digital Green with PCI Express 3. Absolutely. It's not going to. You can technically run all your games off of a hard drive, and you would not honestly see that much of a difference. If you make sure the heatsink makes contact with the chips, it will be absolutely. That's it. I would choose what I think. I think many people would go over if they had a choice. I think a lot of people would go over Western Digital. QLC is faster than TLC. Um, and I thought it was. I'm pretty sure that if you get I think SLC is technically the quickest, isn't it? SLC is usually the quickest, and then I think it's TLC is the next, because QLC is a bit slower because of the security. I think it was. I believe that's the case, because it's all that's pretty much based on the layers of it. QLC is cheaper to make. Yeah, that's what I thought. QLC is the cheaper one. I think it's SLC is the fastest. That's what I thought. Um, but if you do have the SN850X has the 7500 read speed, yes. If you can get that, take advantage of it. If anyone can get a decent SSD, SanDisk or Western Digital, however you will, like they're the same company practically. If you want to go with them, this is actually a great choice to go. This one's actually their, I think, just their regular one. Again, that works great. It's pretty much SanDisk. Crucial's also decent too. Western Digital Black 7100 they offer for 360. It's hard to beat Staples brands. It truly is. QLC works fine unless you transfer large files. And yeah, that's what I was gonna. I'm glad you brought that up, Hidden. That's absolutely the problem. If you transfer like large video files or large files at all, then you'll notice it like start to slow down a bit. But if you can get it, but again, it doesn't matter. Like when it comes to gaming wise, you don't have to worry about that side as much. This is definitely more for those who constantly transfer files. Then it would certainly matter then. But yeah, hard to beat Staples, absolutely. And you know, the last time I went to Staples, I tried to find RAM. I'm curious if they even have it. Let's look it up. DDR5 RAM. Oh, now they have it. But it's expensive. They definitely caught up to today's pricing. $500 for 32 gigabytes and 460. Because there was a while back where you could go to actually Staples and be able to purchase the RAM for a great deal, because they were kind of like slow to catching up. I think, look at this. This caught my eye. So dim. But this is of course it's out of stock. It would definitely be hard to get by $90.99. That's actually really good. SD RAM. 16 gigabytes, okay. Actually, you might be able to get some decent deals out of Staples if you look hard enough. SN700, yes, absolutely. Definitely a good choice for PCI Express 4. If like playing CS2 must go with their yeah, gotta go with 3600 megahertz. Now, if anyone goes with the AM4 builds, because that's another popular thing people are talking about, is going back to AM4. They actually had them at Micro Center. They had the 10-year anniversary AM4s, which was the 5800 X3Ds. They actually had them. But of course, you're going to pay more money for it, for the processor itself, because I think it was 325 or 350. It was between those. Let me just double check. But they had them in stock. Yeah, 350. So you can go ahead and go for this build, but I'm curious if they did start coming out with some sort of bundles with it. Let me see if they have any here. Now, if you go AM4, that's a 5500. They have the XT, and they have that. This is the 10-year anniversary. Now, you see, this is where it gets a bit debatable. You get a 5800 X3D, I'll perform great. But you're still spending $500 on something that is on the older generation. compared to something you could get like even the 7600X for $400. Um, yes, the RAM kits are pretty much the same, 16 gigabytes each. So you don't see the price difference when it comes to the whole 95. Oh, okay. So that's about that sounds like what's up, Ernesto? Great to see you. Ryzen CPUs, yes. Well, Ryzen does, but Intel definitely. I gotta say this though, Intel does love it a bit faster because they require it if you want the fastest speed when it comes to Intel. 7600X got the integrated graphics, yes, and it's great for those who also do want to use it for like some sort of content creation, or if you want to use it for some sort of graphic design, it's a great option for those. Um, so for you guys just tuning in, there's a lot of great kits that they have at Micro Center. Newegg, if is also another great option for those who does not have a Micro Center near them. And I'll show you actually. If you look at Newegg and you want to look for a good deal, say for a 7600 X3D, they also have their own bundles. And if you click it, that's way too much. That's not Newegg. That's another thing you have to be careful of when it comes to shopping at Newegg. Is you want to make sure that you're getting it directly from Newegg and not from a third party because this does happen quite a bit here. So be mindful of that if you choose to go Newegg. And let me see here. I'm going to find. Let's look up a motherboard. That's usually the easiest way to find it. If you're looking, say, for a Gigabyte, let's look up Gigabyte B650 because they'll definitely have some sort of bundle for that. They have this one, the B650M. Let's go B650E and see if they got a bundle down here at all. Okay, not for this one, but it's a good deal. Again, 150 bucks is hard to beat. Let's try this one. Go back here. Oops, not that one. This one. And it keeps flipping. The worst elites. No bundles here either. I bet Asus has some then. F Gaming. Newegg has Micro Center bundle a little higher. Oh, really? The 270. Oh, nice. The 270K plus would be great. 5600G. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people actually use the 5600G for it. So I have to return the Liquid Freezer 3 Pro. The VRM fan started growling. Oh, really? It's not a standard fan that I can replace. It only lasted. Ugh. That sucks. That's terrible. Um, yeah, that's pretty much at that point you have to pretty much RMA it. But you can replace it, you said, right? You can just refund it and then just swap it out for a different cooler. That's frustrating when that happens because it's something that you don't want to do. So I'll turn off that poll. So let's see what type of kits that they have. Yeah, actually. What's up, Jamil? What's up, Jamil? RAM and GPU left for my build. I can't find RAM where I'm targeting two 16 gigabyte DDR5 to get at least the L30. That's tough. I'll tell you right now, that's going to be tough. It's tough for a lot of people. I got it from Newegg. Awesome. I'm glad you did. I'm glad that you got it from Newegg. Newegg's usually pretty good when it comes to that. Let me see. So they do have this bundle 363. That's not bad. Let's see. More options. So their bundle involves, so if you go Intel, you go 270K plus, you can do this bundle. I know there's a lot of AMD guys out there, so we'll go AMD. And they do have the 7800 X3D. But if you want to save a bit of money, 9600, I'm telling you, 9600X is a good way to go. Motherboard, let's see what we can get. That's for a good deal. The MSI Gaming Plus, B850, the MSI Pro, the Tomahawk's legendary. So I would go Tomahawk. CL2630. Oh, you. Oh, really? They have a good deal on that. Don't feel bad even. Absolutely. They said you heard what Valve practically said, that if they didn't communicate with SK Hynix, or that they would just stop talking to them practically. That if they didn't accept the price at the way that they were, that they would have just pretty much ignored Valve and just focused on the whole AI, the big AI companies. Do you recommend VManta brand? Yeah, the Manta brand. V-color man. I'm sure they have it though. I'm sure they also have that for in the Middle East, I would think, for VManta. But you can get the MSI Mag. This is the one I usually recommend, but of course you can always go cheaper if you're trying to save as much as you can. I'm curious how much would the memory be afterwards then. If you try to go, the lowest latency they got is CL36. They do have some V color where you can get $25 off of it. Combo offers negative, takes away 50, and you get a CL 30 latency. So let's see. So roughly that's $709. That's still kind of up there. So $709 for that kind of build. And I think it's because we went with Tomahawk. Let's try swapping out the motherboard instead. If we're trying to truly save money on a build, the BA50MA is also good. Let's go BA50 Gaming Plus. We'll try that. And that dropped it down quite a bit, 639. It's not bad. But of course, if you're building a PC, you'll end up saving if you get everything all at once, because once you pretty much build up this combo, you'll get your full discount then. I'm just curious. We'll just like put together a PC real quick. Like the best sale that they have is the 2 TB one for $20 off, 279. Let's do that. And then a case. Let's see how much we can get this up to. The Pano is actually good. MSI. We can go ahead and do something like that. Or yeah, those are the best cases, it seems like. This one's $40 off. This one's $10 off, so 109. Let's go with them. This one's actually a nice case. I'm surprised this one's actually a really good deal. $95. And then the power supply we didn't even pick the GPU yet. Of course they don't have the GPU included on this. The cheapest brand that I tested was T-Force, Team Group CL38. It's not super noticeable. If you're on a tight budget, yeah, I agree. I think Team Group's actually really decent for the RAM kit. 7600 X3D, the 5080 would be held back by CPU. Goes to 9800 X3D. You think it'll bottleneck, pretty much. Would be, it just depends on the type of game too. You have the 48 gigabyte. Yeah, Team Group's still good. I hear there's some people that don't like it, but most of the experience that I've dealt with was that Team Group has been solid. 9850 X3D. That'll bring up the build quite up in pricing if we do that. Now if you're building with something with a, let's see, this one's a decent one, the 850GS. We'll go with that. Assuming you go with a AMD processor. I mean the AMD GPU. CPU cooler. All the MSI ones are in sale. All their AIOs. So you just want the PC to run nice. And you're running off a 9600X. It's a 170 watt processor, so you're gonna want something like this. I'm just gonna pick this one. Keyboard could care less. So altogether, this build's $1,174. And on top of it, you have 2 terabytes. The thing is, you also have to include that we didn't even add the GPU yet. So if you add in, say we add this all into our cart, now you're missing the GPU. So if you go with something like a 9060 XT, I think that would probably be the best way to go. G7 is fast though. Yes, I agree. Especially the new generation. That's why they could go ahead and do the whole 50 Super series. Even my 5060 Ti held back from its 14700K. Really? What? There's no way. I can't see that. That's crazy. I made a few tweaks now. My 5600 pushing the frame aggressively with MSI 1660 Super 6 gigabytes. Oh, nice. I'm glad you were able to do that. CS2 is running. Yeah, exactly. I could see in FPS games. You know what it is? It's exactly that. It's probably because again, like when it comes to Intel, the memory matters a lot. So you have to have decent RAM. So, Hidden, would you pick CL34 or would you get CL30? Hey V, what's going on? Did you get those? You know what I'm going to ask you, right, AV? I know you know what I'm going to ask you. All right, let's go with lowest price. We're going to look for lowest price. XFX XT Overclock Gaming Edition is the cheapest one. Could definitely go with that one. And this one's 8 gigabytes. Uh, Typically, I recommend at least 16. So let's go 16. Let's go with the ASRock, since that one's the best deal. And altogether, this is everything in the cart here. It will run you. Oh, and it has that nice promo code. Let's go ahead and proceed checkout. Just say. Probably have to sign in. I thought so. Oh, right here. Selected summary. $1,759 is the original price. So let me do the math real quick here. So again, it's 1759. That's 2140. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see. If we do that, subtract it, 140. So already that's only 1,594. So that's not that bad actually. If you put all those items together, it's only at 1,594. When you go up in frequency, the cast latency number does also increase. CL34 6800 is actually less latency than CL6000. Yeah. Yes, all done. Fans are working flawlessly. We'll post. Yeah, awesome. Now this time you had no issues at all, right? Like right after you installed it, it worked great. I'm glad that Liam Lee was able to help you out there. Liam Lee's really great when it comes to their customer care. So I'm glad you were able to get your fans there. So that does, and this includes. There's also another discount on top of it, so it's probably even cheaper. It's probably closer to like probably the 1550 mark, I would think. But that's a whole PC. And you compare that to like a PlayStation 6. I mean, come on, man. Like you can go ahead and build a PC at this point. A little off topic, but I have the conspiracy that Xbox and PlayStation continue to make and announce. I think so too. It's top. It's on topic. I agree. But it's like for every 200 mega transfers, it's like you virtually go down 1 CL, right? Practically. It's like 2,000, 6,834, and you get it in nanoseconds. You know, they even have a tool where you can actually calculate it. Especially this was used a lot, especially when those would overclock DDR4 often, and they would look for specific dies in order to figure out the timing that they can get away with. But yes, it's but along the lines, it's pretty similar to that. Let me see. In fact, I'll get you the exact formula. latency equals latency times 2,000 transfers. Let me see. There's something here. So they do have tools. Like you can use a tool like this. This is by Tech Power Up. You can actually look up the latency. And you could call it whatever. Like for example, your latency 6,000 megatransfers. Say yeah, 7,200. And these would be how it would be in nanoseconds. So if you had it, and once again that's 6,000. But if you're curious about this and timings, this is the tool you can use. You can use something like this. I'll actually post it to you guys. So if you ever want to mess with it, now I don't suggest like everyone just mess with it yet, unless you kind of get an idea of how it works first. Strive for it. That's Greek to me. Let me do it like that. So I'll send that to all you guys over. Oh, wonderful. Let me see. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Now you guys got the link. But you just pretty much click that and you can pretty much calculate it if you wanted to. Speaking of which, like speaking on top of the topic, like when it comes to the whole Xbox and PlayStation debacle about like their issues and going all digital, I think this is obviously going to be a very real issue. And unfortunately, I believe if they're getting this much feedback, I'm sure that they're going to react to it. Now, if you guys don't know, this isn't the first time that they actually dealt with something like this. When it comes to Sony, they actually dealt with this type of pressure before when they tried to attempt to go all digital. Obviously it wasn't well received. It wasn't Sony actually. It was Xbox, I believe, that first tried to do it first. And they obviously backstepped those words, and they decided to just go optical as well. They listened to everybody. But PlayStation actually did the exact opposite, and it's truly ironic because if I show you this video, you would see why it exactly is ironic here. Let me see. This is pretty funny. So take a look at this. I'll make sure to put the volume on so you guys can definitely hear this. But
on PS4.
Tell me if this isn't ironic enough. Hopefully the volume's not too loud. Let me know if it is. But pretty much, oh, there you go.
Thanks. This is how you share your games on PS4.
So how you share a game. So I think this is pretty ironic how they do this because now.
Thanks. This is how you share your game.
So that aged quite poorly, don't you guys think? Especially because Sony was supposed to be the leaders of the whole consoles. Dark style, what's going on? How's everything? And now this happens. They practically say, you know what, we're going all digital. Apparently, there's also word that they're also trying to figure out a way in order how to be able to share games digitally as well. So for Hidden Bull says AMD 6000 and 6400 megatransfers is the sweet spot. So you can run the U clock and the M clock, 3000 to 3200 megahertz memory control. That's where I usually try to run it at too, because I run at 6400 usually. And Intel's the fastest if you can. Yes, Intel would be the best to do it, but again, you have to, and that's exactly the issue when it comes to the Intel side. Intel works great. It doesn't matter if you don't have to get the fastest memory. You can get like, if you can get even like typical, say 6,000 mega transfers of CL30 is perfectly fine. It works great on an Intel system. But of course, Intel has the advantage, just like where AMD has their Infinity cache. Um, this would be for Intel's pretty much for Intel's like their version of like having a decent cache is having faster memory. So that way the games can respond quicker, you get better FPS. That would certainly be the best way to go if you chose Intel. But again, you don't have to get it. But if you want to improve your FPS and you're truly 100% competitive, then you worry about it. Like if you care about your 5 frames per second, then of course you would want to go that route. But I think it's hilarious that Sony pretty much went and did this video, and now they pretty much completely forgot it. But you know who didn't forget it? Everybody else did not forget this video. They knew, and they had to bring this video back into light when this happened. So I'm really curious to see how Sony will respond. So yes, so in the 270K build, it was the CL38. That is correct, Jamil. But still, yeah, it still works phenomenal, and that's the point. Many people, many people that certainly game would certainly still appreciate the speeds and the frames gaming wise. Um, Unless you're the only people that really truly care for even better frames. Didn't Intel revive the old? Yes, they did. Even if people ended up like getting like the same exact build like I did with that PC, I think again most people would certainly be very happy with the build. So you can hop on Discord and look under PC hardware. I tested several kits of memory. Yes. And Hidden Bull did an excellent job of that. And check onto Discord, check it out. He actually recorded a lot of data on the whole memory. That reminds me, I gotta do that again. There's been so much going on that I've been meaning to do that too, is the whole memory test. Which I will do. I'll do that as soon as I get this whole build video put together, so you guys can check out the whole Steam Machine build, because I know there's definitely some disappointed people out there that were looking forward to something like this. That was looking forward to the Steam Machine. Even some people who thought that they were going to get it didn't end up getting the email, which is pretty wild. So I didn't care about frames until I switched into PCs in 2020. If you haven't seen high frame, yeah, it just gets worse. It's like an addiction. You just want to get higher and higher frames, even though the game can perform phenomenally. You just want to push more further. You want to see exactly how far you can truly go with your PC. I tried to find 6400 mega transfers. Yeah, it's hard to find now. They had CL26 even at the time, but now it's going to be very difficult to find. CL26 was early of 2025 that they started producing it. The Sony video reminds me of when Netflix said love is yes, exactly, right? It's just like that. And it's funny to watch companies pretty much contradict each other, contradict themselves, because what does that make them look like at that point? And uh, they they should know better. They should know that people never forget these type of things. I've never ever seen people actually forget something that a company did. So there's always going to be one person that brings it up, and then it's going to blow up from there. So Sony is just being Sony. They will never. And this is what I warned about. I honestly feel that uh that Sony is that's how they are. They just want you to they want you to stay inside their ecosystem, and that's how they want to create it. That's just how the point of this whole new PlayStation 6 portable and PlayStation 6 is going to be. So I'm looking forward to the memory test. I want to try it. Oh, sure, sure. And once I do this, I will make the list. I'll put it out on Discord for everybody out there that is also curious that wants to run some memory test. And then we can post it publicly, and I will also post a video based on it as well. Sony has been like this since the days of PS2. Oh man, I miss the. It makes you miss old Sony. It's like it's like that one person that it's like that one person you dated in your life, and you're like, man, it's like things were great at one point, and then all of a sudden, how did we get here? That's what it's like, right? So Jamil says RAM videos would be nice, especially if you can test brands like Bywin, and if they're yeah, you know what? I that reminds me, I gotta reach out to a few brands and try to get some more RAM if I can, or sacrifice a little bit of currency there. I'm all about for testing the underdogs. I have found a lot of hidden gems for cheap. It's a shame too because those are the brands that should get a lot more focus. You know what, hidden? Let me know the brands too. I would love to reach out to them if that's the case. Sony used to have a car audio. Yeah, Explode, right? Oh, it's Sony only, dealer only, and all proprietary. Because I know the Sony Explodes were like a big thing for a while. That was like, I know that was big into the car market, but man, it's like, yeah, it's like there's a lot of things Sony did great, and then all of a sudden went into a decline. Now everybody, oh, really? Way higher quality than Explode. Really? That's insane. That's and I think that was the biggest complaint because they would say the explodes weren't as good. I would always remember that. The PMYCS, really? That's insane. For me personally, I had issues with PNY when it comes to storage or memory. Like they would always end up getting corrupt. But maybe it's just my luck. Like when it comes to them. But I would be open to try to more. You deserve it. I hope they send you. I think Bywin would. Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? I'll reach out to Bywin. I can reach out to them. People talk trash on PNY, but it's awesome. I'll give them a shot again. I just for myself, I've had some weird experiences with them. Oh really? That's insane. A world champ. That's pretty insane. Let's look up Sony's blog real quick. I wonder if they updated it because this is where they last updated it. Let's see. The PlayStation blog. Trending stories, latest post. It's funny how they make everything into Grand Theft Auto 6, even though it's not like their main game. They even changed their like their whole background. If you go into your PlayStation, you'll see that they swapped it out to like all GTA 6. And they don't even do it to their own titles, which is wild. Clev. I think a lot of people are curious about Clev. Clev's definitely one that pulls attention. Wolverine. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. That you know what's crazy? They did it on the same day, announcing physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new game releasing on PlayStation consoles. And they practically are not going to do that. And then they say, "Hey, you know those games you bought? Well, you know what's the most craziest excuse I heard from Sony was the fact that you know what they said? They said that you can't have the game because the they said what was it right here? Let me see. I'll read it verbatim. Let me see. As the Sony commerce includes here it is. This is the most ridiculous thing I heard when I read this. As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support modern commerce systems, including updating payment processing standards, PS3 and PS Vita are no longer able to support these updates at the level required. So, as the result, we will need to close the PlayStation Store. Tell me how that is the lamest excuse. Isn't that the most craziest thing? Like, how much more secure do you need it to go? It does not take much to secure it. They could easily do it. Um, so Sony and Xbox both died with PS3. I agree. I honestly miss that era a lot. Predator RAM looks good, but hey, it's all about if it performs well. So I heard that the new James Bond game is amazing. I think he's talking about sound. I think if you look at his PFP, it's all about sound. Commerce is the keyword. They want to sell you what you used to get for free. A PS3, I know. That's crazy. Look at this. This is the craziest quote here. Is that like when I saw this, it just made me feel like, what the hell are they thinking here? As the PlayStation Store continues to evolve to support modern commerce systems, include update payment processing standards. Like credit cards have not, yeah, of course they changed in security, but it's not changed that much since then. It's still the same type of format that it's always been. They just have to update these, like two-factor authentication, for example, is a great one. They just throw that on there and that would work fine. So again, oh, nice, nice. So, fam, guys, I appreciate everybody for coming into the live stream. I will be working on that video for the Steam machine. This will be more beginner friendly for everybody that wants to build a Steam machine that's coming over from console over to PCs. I do congratulate anybody that is coming from PlayStation to PC because I understand it can be a scary step, but it's 100% worth it, especially for those who want to explore to see what it's like in the PC realm. And I got to tell you, it's worth it. It's just worth giving it a shot. Resident Evil 9 is amazing. Awesome. I'm glad you got to work on the Steam machine. Let me know how it turns out. Make sure to put it on Discord. So, fam, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I thank you, Hidden Bull. I thank Darkstyle. I thank Destiny. I gotta thank Martin for always coming in as well. I gotta thank our Hidden Bull. I gotta thank Tinfoil Hatter for coming in. Havy. And I also gotta thank Ken and Steven, as always, for coming in. I do appreciate all of you. And let's go, US. Let's hope we win. Once I'm done, have a great one, Darkcell, and catch you guys soon. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys, and let's go, US. We got this. We'll win. Have a wonderful night, and see you on Saturday.